You'll be arriving at Floor 26 soon. Before that, I'd ask you to please check us out on Twitter and Instagram at Floor 26 Podcast. If you have any questions about the show, you can hit us up there or go to our website at floor26podcast.com. Thank you for listening.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Floor 26 Podcast, a show made by young people for everyone. I am back in the studio today. My name is Jack Casey, and I'm joined by...
Terez Hill. Hey, guys.
And, of course...
Adam Duffy.
And again, I'm Jack. Guys, it feels good to be back. What is happening?
We've missed you, bro.
I know. I'm in town. I usually, when I've come home, I think I've come home 2 or 3 times now, and both times I usually come home late Friday or, like, kind of Sunday afternoonish, so I can never make these, because... For those of you that don't know, we record Fridays around 3-ish. So
and release on Mondays around 3-ish.
Yes.
I was just... In case we say anything, and this extends forever in the future, if we say anything that is outdated by a day or two, it's because we record on Fridays.
Right. That's why Parsa always mentions the date.
Yeah, he does. How's everybody's week been so far, though?
Oh, my God.
That's a great way to start it.
That should be the headline of everybody's week. Well, at least for mine.
It's like one of those dreams where you can't tell if it's a dream or a nightmare, but it goes by so fast and nothing feels real.
It's ridiculous.
I guess that's just life in general, though.
This week for me was so fast. I remember Sunday night of this week, I was like, I had a ton of work to do this week, and I woke up early Monday to like get it done, and it took me forever, but like I did the majority of my work for the whole week, because that's kind of how. Because all my classes are online, like they kind of give you work and just say when it's due.
Yeah.
So I just banged it out all Monday, but in my head, I still had a ton of work throughout the whole week. But I woke up Tuesday like ready to work, and I was like, wait, I'm like done. I'm done. That's why the week felt so fast.
Oh my God, I had that testimony, bro. This DH project that I showed at Duffy for my sociology class is 11 pages long, and I still
Is it double spaced?
Huh?
Is it double spaced?
For them, no.
Oh.
And then for the most part, I still have to add more into it. So it's like paragraphs. It's like a book report that I have to write down.
Wow.
For it, all on racism. And then like certain things that we watched. Blowing my mind.
Sounds so fun, dude. Sounds
it's
fun.
It's ecstatic. I can't wait to present in front of the class on Monday. It's going to be amazing.
In what, a Zoom meeting?
A Zoom meeting.
That sounds awful.
It is going to be awful because then it's like you have the kids that don't remember to turn their mics off. So it's like they're always loud.
Why don't you just pre-record it, and then when you're asked to present, screen share yourself?
That's what I was about to say. My roommate is in communications, and so he has to like give like weekly speeches pretty much.
Really?
Like it's just like little short ones, but still they're like a minute or two. And their professor makes them pre-record it and then just like screen share on Zoom.
That way it's not taking up too much time.
Right. That's why it's not like, wait, let me restart
smart.
or whatever.
It's not too bad.
That's smart.
And it's probably easier to just record on your own for some people than to just give it out to a Zoom class.
Knowing my sociology teacher is going to be like, I'm going to get questions,
all throughout,
and he's gonna throw curveballs at me, which is expected.
And the entire class is gonna be sitting there all awkward, like while you're like unable to answer these questions, and they're like,
normally, like last time, I was pretty spot on. Like he asked me about structural functionalism and stuff like that, so I was like, oh my God, I'm getting it like this.
Look at you.
I was just on fire. The rest of the class, not so much. No one for the most part did their project, so it's like everybody's gonna cram it in.
Look at you, standing out above the rest. My week, I had the sort of blip at the beginning where, with last week's episode, which I won't go into because it makes me seem. But basically, my week started. My week started Tuesday at 4 when I woke up.
That entire
my weekend sort of just extended up until Tuesday afternoon.
We were getting texts from you at like 4 a.m. every day, and by the time you finally said, "Okay, the episode's done," I just said, "Dude, go to sleep." Dude, I'm like, "What are you doing?"
I know he slept so good.
I literally finished just like I even said, I sent out, I was like episode ready at 3 p.m. And then I was like, it's not going to be ready by 3 p.m. It's not going to be ready by 3 p.m. And it was like 2:30 by the time I exported it and got it uploaded. And I was like, you got this.
I kept checking YouTube because you set it up as a premiere, which is really cool. Like it would like start playing at 3, which I thought was really cool. And I checked it and like it was 3:15 and the premiere hadn't started. I thought that was like automated. I don't know what happened.
Oh, interesting. Maybe I messed it up. Maybe I needed to start the premiere.
Maybe you had to manually do it instead of time it.
But everything's fine now. I'm doing great now. Yeah, Jack, do you want to introduce what we're going to talk about today?
Yeah, on the plate today, we are Atlanta boys, and the Atlanta Braves just made it past the NLDS into the NLCS, which they have not done since 2001.
Wonderful.
And I will explain
Since
that.
2001?
Since 2001.
It's been a minute.
They've
Okay.
made it to the playoffs a couple times.
Maybe that's
in the
why
past
I didn't know what it was.
2 decades or 19 years, but they have not made it to the quote-unquote second round of the NLCS.
Okay.
Very exciting. Next on the plate, we're talking about Call of Duty, obviously. I'm a huge FPS person. I know TJ is too. Call of Duty Beta went live yesterday. If you pre-ordered it or if you just somehow got a code, they were giving out codes other than just pre-ordering it.
I don't know what dance I just did, so disregard
I
that.
didn't even see
I
it.
was just like where's Call of Duty? I don't know what dance I did. Just disregard
So-
that,
boy.
guys.
Beta went live yesterday. I played it yesterday because I got a code even though I didn't pre-order it. And I have some opinions on that. And then after those two, we were talking about the vice presidential debate, which was not as hyped up as the main presidential debate, but is still something I feel like we should
The main one was
talk about.
the main one was comedy.
Straight SNL skit.
It was really much comedy for the most part, and I found it very interesting.
Like, Alec Baldwin could have been on that stage going, wrong, no, literally
During
an
the
SNL
entire
skit.
episode, and it would have made it perfectly amazing. He would have fit right in.
And when
in.
SNL 3 days later parodied it, they were the same.
They acted spot on.
It was this. It
They got
could've-
every
It could
reaction
have been
spot on.
real. It's incredible.
But for the most part, for the playoffs, bro,
Yes. And if you two don't quite understand how baseball playoffs works, I'd be happy to explain it.
please just go ahead and run it.
It's
through for
actually
us.
different this year because of Corona. So the way it works is it's like every other, NBA has East and West, football has NFC, AFC, baseball has the National League and American League.
Mhm.
So half the teams are in, it's 50-50.
right.
And in those two leagues are a West, a Central, and an East. So 3 divisions, so 6 in total.
Right.
And the way the playoffs usually work is the best in the NL and AL West, the best in the NL and AL Central, and the best in the NL AL East. So those 6 teams go to the playoffs. And because it's a 3-team bracket, it doesn't really work out. So there's how the 4th team plays in is called the wild card. And they're just the 2 best teams overall from those 2 leagues. So the 2 best teams under those 3
Mm-hmm.
from the National League will play in for the 4th spot, and vice versa for the American League. This year, they just did it to where there were way more teams in the playoffs. I don't remember I think it's like 8 teams played in, and they just called that the wild card series, but there was no real play-in. It looked more like a real bracket instead of just like a 4th play-in spot. So Braves beat the Reds in that series, and they just beat the Marlins, who are I hate the Marlins, by the way. Can't stand them. They are a god-awful team that
He said,
no
"I
one
can't take
cares.
it anymore." I can't even
They're the
take it.
worst. The fact that they even made it to the playoffs astonishes me.
I was just going to say that word off the top of my head. Astonishing.
It's incredible that they made it because the Braves absolutely destroyed them. The first wild card series, which again is different, it's not a play-in, it's that big long list of teams. That was a best of 3. The NLDS, which the Braves just won, was a best of 5. And they are going into the NLCS where they will either play. Actually, it got revealed, and I don't know. They were either playing the Dodgers or the Padres. The Padres and the Dodgers series was yesterday for us. Yesterday, the Braves beat the Marlins in a 3-0 series, and the game was 7-0, which was awesome.
Really?
Marlins are. I'm telling you, the Marlins are awful. They're an awful, awful team. I don't know.
He said
I hate the
awful
Marlins.
team.
They're
They won't even make it.
despicable.
So if you could rate your Braves players, like from what could I ask? Who do you think is going to necessarily carry the most of the weight during this?
It's really interesting you asked me that because this series or this recent couple of games, even ignoring the postseason, they have this new catcher, and I don't know how to say his name. I always forget how to say his name, but he has an amazing story. It's Denard. I don't know how to say his name.
Mhm.
That's me being a fake fan. He's a really good player. The Mets a year and a half ago just cut this guy loose. They didn't trade him. They were just like, you're done. Like they didn't put him back in the minors. They didn't do anything. They were just like, you're, whatever. So then
Dang.
the Braves pick him up as a free agent, and this playoffs, he's the reason we are doing so well in these playoffs. He's a catcher. He's just hitting bombs all day.
All day long.
He's incredible. So he is one of my favorite players to watch right now in this postseason. But obviously, there's the little kids from Atlanta. You got Acuna, you've got Ozzy, you've got Ozuna, who just came from. We picked him up as a free agent. And he's incredible. He's not a kid. He's a grown up. But obviously, there's Freddie Freeman too. The whole team their chemistry is really impressive, and Dansby too. Just it's going very well for the Braves right now.
That's phenomenal. I'm glad they're honestly standing on top.
Yeah,
they're coming.
Yeah.
They're really showing their full potential and what they're capable of.
I'm actually going to Google that right now. I need to figure out because the Braves were up 2-0 yesterday against the Marlins, and the Dodgers were up against the Padres 2-0 as well. So if the Dodgers won, you want to look that up?
Yeah, I definitely am. I'm glad. I'm happy to hear that they're doing well. Because I figured, because when I look at it, like, of our big downtown Atlanta teams, I feel like one, Atlanta's not as much of a baseball city probably as other ones, and I don't think that they get as much hype as maybe some of our other major league teams.
Marlins got no points in during that game.
Braves 7-0.
Braves took over 7-0. They didn't even get. They got nothing in. they got nothing in during that game.
Yeah,
That's tough.
Jack said they suck.
yeah.
They suck.
I hate the Marlins as much as I hate the Dodgers, because the Dodgers are good every year and they always knock us out of the bracket.
Mhm.
But I hate them, but they're good, so it's really disappointing. But yeah, I agree with you that there's a lot. Well, I don't agree with you at the same time though, because you were saying that
Braves and Dodgers go Monday.
So the Dodgers won 3-0 then against the
Game
Padres.
Game 1, Dodgers. Oh, against the Padres. Hold on, let me see.
You were saying, like, I'm assuming you're talking about, like, Atlanta United and the Falcons and the Hawks all kind of have more hype than the Braves. But if you've ever, I don't know, I feel like the Braves of those four teams are the best in their respective sport. I feel like because the Falcons this year, oh my god,
Definitely in terms of performance, I would say that I mean our basketball and football teams have been pretty bad historically.
Atlanta United hasn't.
Atlanta United,
No.
They were the second best last year. They lost in the championship.
Dodgers beat the Padres.
Yeah, I assume.
And I guess just in general, I think baseball is still probably, like, nationwide the most popular sport.
Probably, yeah. It doesn't. The Braves have a lot of fan base. It doesn't seem like it to you, but I promise you they do, because if you think about it, the entire Southeast is a Braves fan, because North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, Florida has teams, but no one cares about them. That's 6 states. That's 6 states that are all Braves fans.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
And
they do have a big fan base.
Fun fact, in the 90s, when the Braves were on top of their game, when they were, like, going to World Series and they won the World Series and all this stuff, they won in 95. And you ask anyone, the 90s the Braves owned. Like, not even just sports, just, like, Atlanta just watched them. Them and the Olympics, that was all the 90s were. And yeah, it's kind of crazy. I wish I was there. In the 90s, the Braves telecasted through TBS. And all sports teams, for the most part, are kind of just regionally distributed. Like, I mean, it's different now because you can stream any game you want over the internet.
Course.
But pre-internet, if a sports team wasn't near you, you couldn't really watch them or listen to them, really. So what TBS did, TBS is a national network. So every night, the Braves were all across the country. While, for example, I don't know, the Marlins were only in South Florida. You couldn't watch a Marlins game if you were here.
Right.
But TBS put the Braves every Braves game was across the country every time they played in the 90s. So them being really good and broadcasted across everywhere.
Yes.
There are Braves fans in every single state because of that.
And that's phenomenal. But it's really good that they're really showing their top potential now, and that they're finally opening up to realize, you know what, it's time for us to really start bringing back the potential that the previous teams have had. Yeah. So I think that's pretty good. Yeah.
The announcers yesterday when the Braves won, they were like, oh yeah, because they said hasn't been since 2001.
Of course they point that out.
So then they, like, after they said that, they listed off the roster, and I was like, oh my god, every single one of those names are just, like, insane. Like, you had that was the Chipper Jones days. That was like, when we were kids, or 2001 we were, being born, but you know what I mean? It's just like that roster. I can't remember all the names, and I was just like, my jaw dropped because I was like, yeah, I bet they did in 2001. That was an insane lineup they had.
I do have some like cursory knowledge about baseball because in the 4th grade when I lived in Utah, all my friends at this new school I went to, because that was one of the times we had moved, they all liked baseball cards, and so. At the time, I completely stopped asking my parents to get me anything for my birthday or Christmas except for baseball cards.
Wow.
And like I pretended, well, I pretended to be really into it, and then like just by having them, I got pretty into it. And my parents were happy to oblige because baseball cards were much cheaper than Yu-Gi-Oh cards, which is what I was into at the time. Man. And so I still have them actually. They're in my room right now. I just have buckets of baseball cards. And like I just like would read them at night,
buckets
some of these
really cool.
So some of these names you're throwing at me, I was like, oh my god, I think I have their card. I'm up in my room right now.
I have a whole box at home full of nothing but old baseball cards and football cards and a couple basketball players. We're gonna have to go through that.
That'd be really cool.
Boy.
That would be like we're gonna have to go through that. That would be a perfect collection.
Yeah, and I have some of my stepdad's old ones too, which were like pretty cool ones. Like he had like Joe DiMaggio ones from like not from when he was playing obviously, but like back from like the 80s.
Oh yeah.
That I think were his dad. So that might be interesting to go through.
Yeah, honestly.
I mean,
oh my goodness.
We're talking about baseball cards here, but as interesting as baseball cards can be.
Yeah.
But yeah, really big ups to the Braves for
I'm
getting to the
so excited
for the first time in 19 years.
Because again, I just told this to TJ. He didn't know, but for the audience, I worked for the Braves. I'm still technically employed by them just because of Corona. I work in the stadium. Every home game I'm there. I'm at the gate. I'm helping fans, if got any questions, I'm scanning their ticket. I'm basically just I'm a gate correspondent and a ticket scanner, but I'm there for whatever you really need. And I started in 2018 and I'm still employed by them, and just seeing them get better and better each year. Like literally it's statistics. They're better and better each year. It's just so exciting. It's so exciting.
I'm sure that'd be exciting for you. It's like me working at a restaurant and seeing like our sales go up every year. I could see like being interested in that, but on a much bigger scale.
Oh my goodness.
But I guess there's not anything else about the Braves. We can talk about Call of Duty Beta.
Dude, today's podcast is my day. We're talking about Call of Duty. We're talking about the Braves.
Yeah, we're treating you with your day
I'm
back.
Home and I'm just like all my topics are back. Okay, so let me lay this out. Listen.
Here's the deal.
Here's the deal. Yeah, I'm Joe. Call of Duty Beta went live if you pre-ordered it or got a code somehow yesterday. And I previously played the alpha a week ago. And I can just say that they changed so much in that week between the alpha and the beta. It doesn't feel like a new game, but they changed the ADS speeds of almost every gun and the movement speeds and your slide. Like the whole movement is just totally different. And I think they're just trying to, tweak it. Obviously, that's what the alpha and the beta is for.
Of course.
How games work. They're just working on it, fixing out bugs.
Make it better.
It's gonna be good. I get Black Ops 2 vibes, and I haven't gotten them. I know.
And that's amazing.
That is quite.
That's really.
No,
that's really
listen, I
up
know.
my excitement for it.
Because that was my first one, and it's still my favorite one. And there will never be a better one. Black Ops 2 was so good.
Okay. Keep talking.
It was, I think, the peak. Because there was MW2, and then there's MW3, and then there was Black Ops 2. And it's just like, whoa.
Are you serious?
And every game since.
Lay out that list to me again.
In 2010, 2009 was MW2. 2010 was Black Ops. 2011 was MW3, and 2012 was Black Ops.
Okay, I thought you were laying out your favorites.
Oh no.
All right, we won't get into that.
Whoa.
But so you're getting Black Ops 2 vibes. So
I say that reluctantly because what I was about to say was I compare everyone since Black Ops 2, since my first one in 2012, I've compared everyone since to Black Ops 2.
Okay.
And this is the closest they've gotten back to it.
Okay. Is there so I know they've moved away from just like strict story modes in some of their titles so far. So what's the breakdown of like the different game modes that we have?
So Black Ops 4, which came out in 2018. That was 18's COD.
Uh-huh.
It was the first one to cut campaign completely. All it had was Blackout, which is kind of like a pre-Warzone type thing,
Yeah.
and multiplayer and zombies because it's a Treyarch game.
Yeah.
So then 2019, Modern Warfare comes out, which is like the current COD, which has Warzone. Everyone loves this one. It's love and hate because it has a totally new engine compared to all the other ones, so it feels way different. And there's bullet drop and there's spray patterns. It's kind of its own thing, and it's an interesting topic, but we're not talking about that. And then 2020 is going to be Black Ops Cold War, which does have a story mode, has a zombies mode, has multiplayer, and it'll be. This is really confusing to explain, but Warzone, which came out on Modern Warfare, totally different engine, different developer, will be integrated to Cold War somehow. So they're going to, I think, make a new map that Treyarch will work on, because it's Infinity Ward and Treyarch, and this next one coming up is Treyarch. So I think Treyarch's going to make a new map and throw it in. But it's weird because they won't be developing on their game or their engine. They'll be developing for Modern Warfare.
And so like if you're playing on like a console or even like a PC, like the two games files, well, they're not files, but just they're going to be integrated together.
I believe
like,
let's say hypothetically you don't have Modern Warfare or Warzone right now. If you buy Cold War, I think it will install Warzone files with it.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I know a few games like that.
Yeah, where they kind of like there's overlap for sure.
Interesting. So it might just be like another like 80 gigabyte update.
Yeah,
for Warzone. But interesting. So with the story mode, I mean, how much action is there going to be in a story mode about the Cold War?
I don't know if y'all have seen the trailers, but
I haven't been following.
It looks really good, and I'm
excited. Like my skin just flushes when that gets brought up.
I said this again. Who cares about Call of Duty campaigns? Like people talk about them and people play them, but and they make all the trailers for the game with the campaign cutscenes because those are the prettiest. You're not going to make full-on trailers for just multiplayer gameplay.
That's true.
So the trailers have all the campaign cutscenes and stuff, and this is the first Call of Duty campaign ever where I've been like, whoa, that looks fun.
Okay. Well, I mean, before we move on, can we make the distinction that the 3 Modern Warfare games do have
no. That's what I'm talking about.
A stellar campaign.
That's what I'm talking about. But that's why I said people still play them and people still like them, but multiplayer is definitely at the top.
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely a point where it broke off from there. I think, I mean, the first 3 Modern Warfares all had multiplayer, but at that point, most people were buying it still for the story. But I mean, mainly because that was still coming out on early
changed,
Xbox 360.
But COD 4 and MW2 and MW3 had a great series. I loved that campaign.
Yes.
But when people talk about
Static.
Yeah. But when people talk about MW2, they're talking about interventions on high rise,
Yeah, okay. Yeah. That was kind of the break.
Ghost and Roach, I loved that. And Price loved it. And then they rebooted it with Modern Warfare. This most recent game is it's a different universe with the same characters.
Yeah, I never played it, but when I heard that, I was reluctant at first just because I'm always reluctant about like reboots to stories like that, especially when they were so great and wrapped up. But
that's what the rumor was going to be for this one because the title got leaked as Black Ops Cold War. And people were like, "Oh, they're gonna do the same thing Infinity Ward did. They're rebooting all the I don't know if you played the Treyarch campaign games, but it's about Mason and Woods. If they're the two main guys. They're like just military guys. And Black Ops 1 is all about them, and you play as them. And Black Ops 2 is you are Mason's kid.
I played the campaign for Black Ops 2, but I didn't know that it was tied to Cold War.
I never really played the original Black Ops, but if you can think about it, for this upcoming game for Cold War, it's a direct sequel to the original Black Ops in 2010.
Cool.
So because Cold War they take place around the same time, and Black Ops 2 was like 2025 ish.
Yeah.
So because this is Cold War, it's a direct sequel. So imagine Black Ops 1 guns on a modern game engine that kind of feels like Black Ops 2. It sounds incredible.
It's a perfect combination.
I've only played the beta, though, and I've got some complaints.
You saw my eyes just lit like a Christmas tree.
I know. I saw your face. You were like,
wow.
What?
That's going to be amazing.
So you laid out some of your complaints. But what's like your biggest gripes, would you say?
It feels like old COD, which is good because Modern Warfare, like I said, it kind of like the new Star Wars trilogy. It really divided the fan base.
Yeah.
If you're familiar with that.
100%.
Like Force Awakens and Last Jedi and all that total split of the fan base. Either loved or hated it. And Modern Warfare kind of had the same effect.
So bad.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of new Star Wars trilogy either, but that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah. Please continue.
Modern
That's topic for
Warfare
a different day, guys. It's topic for a different.
Modern Warfare definitely did that because the play style just changed. The spawn system, like every COD has a basic spawn system. If you push too far where the enemy is spawning, they'll flip. That's just like if you're where they're spawning, they'll spawn where you did originally, just back and forth. Modern Warfare does this thing where no one knows the spawning system yet. They still haven't. No one has really figured it out and shown evidence of how it works. Mm-hmm. And the biggest theory is, and this is true because I experience it every time I play. Say you're sucking in a game, in just a regular game multiplayer. If you die to someone, you'll start spawning on that person that killed you, so you can get an instant revenge on them. And
interesting.
It's crap. It's awful because if you're popping off, getting like 5 kills, that 5th person you kill could spawn right on top of you and just get it easy.
I feel like that does tailor to like just the people that are sucking, just to give them that chance for give them that chance for the feeling of getting that revenge kill,
right? Because
over the idea of allowing someone who's on a streak to keep going.
Because skill-based matchmaking is a thing now. And the way they're implementing it into multiplayer, which they hadn't until Modern Warfare, is by doing that spawn system. And it's just, there's a lot of hidden elo and hidden levels that you just get paired up with people. And if you just want to because do you know what skill-based matchmaking is, TJ? Okay, it's a huge, you know what that is.
Yeah, it's in Hearthstone.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. Because
what is skill-based?
Skill-based matchmaking is, say you just want to hop on a game. It's the main debate for it came up with battle royales like Fortnite and Warzone and stuff.
Yeah.
You just want to hop in. You just want to have fun. You just want to play. You can't do that because if you get into just a regular public match, nothing crazy, you will be put with everyone on the same level as you. Right. So there's not like really good players and really bad players who keep in the same lobby. You are always just getting refreshed into people that are just like you, and they're not always trying to just chill and hang out.
They're trying. They're trying to go.
They're sweating.
Yeah,
they're climbing the ladder.
They're putting that work in.
There's always gonna be people better than you and worse than you, and you can, you died to the best guy, but you can always rely on killing the worst guy. For this, everyone's on the same field. Yeah, and they're all sweats. They're all just going on.
That's amazing how they do that though. Like how they match you up with the person that's
right, because you'll have
skill set.
You'll have like an experience level, like I'm level 68 or whatever. But there's also a ton of hidden levels for pairing you up.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And companies do that to get people who suck at the game to keep playing. Because if you suck, you wouldn't want to keep playing. But if you're having fun killing people who suck just as bad as you
can't do that anymore because you're only being matched up with people who are
you're
on your same level who are most likely trying to go up.
It's awesome for people who suck at games. But if you're, a really good player, but you're just trying to chill sometimes, like the debate comes up with content creators and streamers and stuff. Because if they're trying to make entertaining videos of doing challenges in Warzone where they, win a game with just a knife or whatever, they can't do that because, all those streamers are good players, but sometimes they're just trying to make funny videos like that. So they can't do that when everyone is just smacking them.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that whole debate, and they implement it into Warzone, and not Warzone, through Modern Warfare multiplayer, by doing that spawn system I was talking about. And it's just really
interesting.
Yeah. But the reason I started that whole discussion was this new one where I'm playing the beta, none of that exists. It's everyone just, I don't want to say that because I might be wrong, but it feels good because of that spawn system in Modern Warfare, people just camped. Like that game is known for camping more than any other COD ever.
Yes.
Wow.
You've probably experienced it playing every map, every game mode, no matter what, no one's moving. They're standing still.
In that exact same spot. Trying to get the
entire game.
Trying to get the exact same kills. And it's frustrating because it's like... Dude.
Well, you have to because if you get a 5th kill, like I was saying, they'll spawn right on top of you. So you have to get in a spot away from everyone.
Yeah.
This game, that spawn system doesn't exist, so you can run around and it feels normal. So I'm very excited. Yeah.
That's good, though.
It's good.
That's really phenomenal. Speaking on debates... We had a major debate going on earlier this week. The vice
presidential debate between Mike Pence and Kamala Harris.
I only watched the last 5 minutes of it, I will say.
Kamala, oh my God.
She ate him
tell
up.
she did. You could tell that she really came to this vice presidential debate not just trying to represent a name for her, like Joe, but also trying to make sure that people know who she is and that she cares for the American people just as much, if not more.
Yeah.
Mike Pence, on the other hand, he was sort of his posture during the debate was sort of so.
Like, that noise. That's a great way to put it.
There was no type of enthusiasm, no type of excitement going on. I think that was something that us as people really need, or that if he's trying to win his votes, he should have really been able to give.
Yeah. And can I just say, before the debate, he was so, I won't say slept on because he doesn't have like any kind of fan base, but he's just, I don't even know what he sounded like.
He's just window dressing.
He just doesn't talk. I see him standing up at events sometimes, maybe, but
rare occasion.
Yeah,
Rare
every occasion Trump makes him, but I don't know his personality. I don't know how he sounds. He was just like just a brick.
Yeah, the only time I ever see him is in Senate hearings, and he's like the one sitting because the vice president moderates over the Senate, and so I just see him sitting there, and I'm like, can he speak? Like, does he have a voice?
Is he going to say anything?
Like,
that's why I was
if he
excited.
speaks, does it just really high pitched and like he just sounds like a 12-year-old kid or something?
Well, SNL. I agree with SNL. I think he's closeted gay, so we'll see.
Oh, I mean, you can't hate a group of people that much and not be a part of them.
Oh exactly. God. You cannot be that homophobic and
not somewhere along down the lines,
because it's just projection.
Like when how SNL writes him is so funny.
They were very much
some of their skits, like in just the past 4 years, have been really funny about it. Like it was really perfect. Yeah, we were watching SNL skits about the debates earlier, and I was gonna touch on the portrayals they do of certain of the candidates, and I remember keeping up with all of the ones for the Democratic primary, and those were like hit or miss. They had, I think, like the one real Asian guy on their cast playing Andrew Yang, and I'm pretty sure he's like the only real like main cast member who's Asian American. So he was really the only one they could have gotten to play him.
I think they said this as a joke on one of the episodes, but I think he is the first. Is he the first Asian cast member on SNL?
I've never seen one, like a consistent cast member before that's Asian American.
He's the first like solidified one.
Well, good on him.
Yeah,
good on him.
Yeah,
but,
I love. I don't even know his name, but I love him when he comes on as that Chinese ambassador on Weekend Update. Have you seen that?
Yeah, he's funny.
Is so funny.
Yeah, he's really good. They had I'm gonna run through the various ways they portrayed Joe Biden throughout all these debates. So the very first one, or not the very first one, but I think for the first two, and the one that I liked the most was they had Woody Harrelson playing Joe Biden, like Zombieland Woody Harrelson playing Joe Biden, and I thought it was amazing because he was so good at playing like he was really good at playing like the creepier and emotional sides of Joe Biden really well. Like
he's really talented overall.
Definitely Woody Harrelson is perfect.
Yeah.
And then for another one, they couldn't get him back, so they used one of their main cast members. I forget his name. But he's one of the ones that's been there for like 20 years now. And I forget his name, but he's having a movie soon where he coaches he's like a football coach that coaches like a European soccer team.
Yes.
That guy played him for another time, and I didn't like him as much. But the most recent one where they're recreating the Trump Biden debate. They had Alec Baldwin playing Donald Trump, which is obviously just the best Donald Trump.
Cannot be beaten.
Alec Baldwin is the best Donald Trump.
He nailed him down to a T.
And he's been doing it for 4 years. He's been doing it since he was in the Hillary and Trump debate, and he was perfect in it too. And
nailing it down.
So yeah, that's nailed down. You can't get anyone better than him, I don't think. But they had Jim Carrey playing Joe Biden, which I think was better than it was. I don't think it was as good as Woody Harrelson, but I do think it was better than the other guy.
Yes.
Jim Carrey being the oldest of any of those people who tried playing Joe Biden definitely was like with new Jim Carrey, he was definitely able to play into that element of sort of a geriatric dude. And I get Jim Carrey just being who he is very eccentric and very.
They did a very good job singling him out.
He was pretty good at play, especially that debate. Joe Biden, he was good at playing him.
Yes, he said everything Joe couldn't say on national television. You okay?
Hang on there, Joe.
Yeah, he was just really good at being like
that smile they taught you in anger management.
Exactly, being like Joe. What you would think Joe's going on in his head right there. You think exactly. Jim But then for this one, I know they used Maya Rudolph to play Kamala Harris just for the past year or so, which is a good portrayal. Definitely, she definitely plays Kamala really well.
She looked good. She looked a lot like her.
That's
Yeah, exactly. She looks like her. She acts really well like her. I love Maya Rudolph from growing up. I watched the Grown Ups movies.
Oh my God, she was amazing.
Classics. Just working with that whole sphere of actors, all those comedy actors. She's a hallmark among them. I don't know who they got to play Mike Pence. I didn't even watch like the full have they even put out a skit about
Mike Pence was not in it, and he
okay.
The person who played the moderator for this one is who usually plays Pence.
Who's that?
I don't know his name.
I haven't watched the skit.
Beck.
I didn't even watch the skit.
His last name is Beck. He's an SNL cast member.
What else has he been in?
Because
I know them pretty.
He's in everything on SNL. Like almost every skit he's featured.
Okay.
But I don't know what else he's done outside of SNL.
Well, we'll have to look it up after this. But
definitely.
Talking about the debate proper, I didn't watch it. You watched part of it. TJ watched the most of it here.
You're our informant here.
So TJ, can you just break down what they talked about? And basically like certain key responses that they gave or key moments.
Well, before they even really got really as active as you would suspect them to, of course, Kamala came in bullets blazing and just straight out said, so you could tell she was really speaking from the mind as much as the heart, yearning for the American people, but also keeping in mind, as a politician, these are the things that we should be doing. She came out the blue and was like, under Trump's administration has been the worst administration we have witnessed in the entire line of presidency. And then for a quick second, everyone got quiet. And then Mike just comes with a response like, that's a lie. And it's like, then she starts labeling the facts. You look at coronavirus. You look at our economy. You look at the certain things and the promises that he said that he was going to keep up, and he hasn't done such. Mm-hmm. One of the things that really popped out to me was the fact that the moderator pointed out Kamala, which, with Joe about to be one of the oldest presidents to, be in presidency ever,
Yeah.
How is he going to, hold up all of this? I don't want to necessarily say stress, but all of this responsibility, giving his age, giving his health, same thing with Donald Trump. And, her thing was, Joe completely lays out his background, full as day. Trump, on the other hand, on his campaign website, doesn't even have a tab in which you can even really understand Mike Pence's point of view during the entire presidency. But on Joe's, you get his point of view, Kamala's point of view. And she's just like, Joe has a background of pain. He has a background of suffering with his sons. Of course he does. And, she has a strong believer that Joe will be able to withstand anything that comes his way. Mike Pence, on the other hand, is like, yeah, no. Yeah, no, Joe's not gonna last that long.
Joe's like, nah, we've been here 4 years. We're gonna be here the next 4 years. You're wrong.
We're gonna be in the next 4 years, and it's like, Pence, bro, come on, let's slow our roll. You worry about that fly on your head and the stop part. Dude.
Oh my!
How don't you feel that sitting on top of your head during the entire debate?
Well, the hair isn't real. It's just like painted
like
to
Trump.
his head.
It's just like.
Oh wow!
It's just you get it sprayed on right before you go to the debate.
Yeah. We're joking,
and so there's no like nerves.
Yes, we are completely kidding.
Well,
not completely, but he was like,
kidding.
TJ was just like, really,
really, like, is that really how it happens? Is that really how it happens?
But no, it's interesting what you were talking about. How she kept saying she was really general, at least for the few minutes I watched it. She was very, brought everything. She was using big words like he's the worst president ever. Joe's going to be the best president ever. Yes. He's going to be the oldest president ever, but he's going to handle it the best ever. She kept saying ever, and there's just really...
Both of those statements are incorrect.
She was just really...
I can't deal. I think their point right now is, I think their whole entire ordeal is, let's get Trump out of office first. And then we'll worry about Joe.
About being good leaders.
Yeah, we'll worry about Joe and everything after. But I feel as though, even though that tactic is okay, I still feel as though the American people should come first. What is best for the people? So
that's all they've been saying.
Yeah.
That's all Joe and Kamala have been saying.
And that is one of the reasons why I sort of kind of applaud Joe and I applaud Kamala, even though, everybody has skeletons in their closet. and you really have to be particular.
Or you are a skeleton.
That part right there.
Oh, sorry, it's too easy. Keep talking.
That
Keep
part
talking.
right there. But you really have to be particular, and you really have to be open to want to go and do research and understand the skeletons that are in their closet before you vote for someone to be in presidency. You know what I'm saying? Because you have a lot of the Trump supporters that were from, what are they, Catholic, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes.
So I had to listen to a podcast on the Catholic vote, because that's really going to be something important that Joe and Trump have to get if they expect, to get through this or whatever the case may be. And it's like, okay, you have Donald Trump right here. You have Joe on the other hand. Joe will be the first Catholic. Will he be the first Catholic president?
I doubt it.
There's no chance.
No.
There's no way.
So what would Joe be?
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
Because they were.
I mean, he is Catholic, but he's not. I don't think he'd be the first.
No way he's the first Catholic president. That can't be right.
Especially back in like the early 1900s.
Yeah.
Everyone was a Catholic back then, right?
And this is on a different note, but the reason they're fighting over that Catholic Church is because, the reason Joe's fighting for it is because I won't say the majority, I don't know for sure, but a lot of Catholics are way more conservative leaning. They're more right leaning. So that's why Joe wants it, and Trump is trying to keep it.
Yes.
But the Catholic Church, at least, is a little corrupt, just a little bit.
And
Very.
And I think
they're very hypocritical people.
They are, and their biggest thing right now is those that are for pro-life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
There's that whole
there's
debate.
that thing, and then that's where the Catholic vote comes into hand, because Joe, he believes that everybody, and I think this is the thing that we all have to understand. If you're going to live in the United States, and you're going to say you're from the United States, our biggest thing is that we are for the people, and we also have to learn to respect people's choices. And I think that's a big ordeal as to why people come to the United States, because they feel as though I'll be able to have the choice to live my life the way I want to do it in my own way. And I think that's where the confusion comes in between Joe and Trump, because Trump, in a sense, is trying to, I don't want to say take that away from people, but for you to take away, how they were trying to form it is for what a female does with her body and what anybody does with their body. That's sort of kind of taking away the people's choice. And that's one of the biggest things that they were also, Kamala was also trying to focus on. But she did a very good job during the debate in saying, I'm a woman. I respect women's choices. I respect women's rights. And I feel as though everybody should follow in those footsteps if we're going to say that we are the American people and we are for America. People's choice is one of the biggest things.
I agree 100%. It's America. It's land of the free. You should have.
Brave. Yes.
You're right. Exactly. You should have. And the people who are pro-life, their lives aren't affected. They don't even, abortions happen every day.
They do.
They don't even know they happen.
They do.
But they are considering it murder when it's barely even a form. It cells in someone's body. And this is awful, but a 13-year-old girl, she gets raped on the street. She becomes pregnant.
Yes.
She is 13.
And not only is she scarred, but she's forced upon a responsibility
to have a child.
Yes.
There are so many different situations and just a million things where everyone is different, and if you are pro-life, an abortion happening does not affect you in any way.
Yes. At all.
I do think that the best model for any society is to maximize agency while striving to curve these sort of practices, where I think that in pretty much any case that an abortion should be an option for anybody to select. And also I think that while we keep that option open indefinitely, or at least, open as much as possible, we constantly strive to lower the need for them.
Right. That's promote safe sex and, get rid of rapists on the street.
I think that's the outlet that they should be taking.
Right.
Versus just demanding no, you cannot do this to your body. You should be willing to have a conversation with the American people and let them know, okay, guys, this is how you should go about this situation. Let's promote safe sex. Let's promote, guys, don't be silly, wrap your willy. You know what I'm saying?
And a lot of right-leaning conservative, they look at Planned Parenthood, for example, and they're like, oh, that's the place you get abortions. That's not all it is.
Yes.
You can go there, get condoms, you can get birth control. It is Planned Parenthood. It's not just a place where an abortion happens. It's such a healthy government funded
Yes,
thing.
because they're there to help. They're not
Right.
just there to,
Right.
you know, as people say, kill your baby. They're there to help you along
they're
the way.
there
and
so you
provide
don't
the
have to
steps.
get a baby
Yes.
to kill.
Yes.
Yes.
And then they help you
Although
through
it's
the
not
decision
murder.
making.
It's not killing. It's not killing. It's
just so you
not
guys
killing.
know,
It
it's
just
not.
sells.
But another thing they talked about majorly that really stuck out was climate change. We all know how much Joe is so fond of climate change
And how Trump isn't.
isn't at all. Like, I think the one point that he pointed out during his debate with Joe was the fact that I think he said something about forests, like the forest men, and how they should increase that. And if we take care of the forest, we won't have as much severity to deal with as American people on our
That is
end.
not how it
And Joe's whole
works.
point at all. And you can tell how uninformed he is in certain areas because it shows when he gets on television, when he gets and starts explaining certain things. And I really feel as though Kamala backed him up on this because she brought up a bunch of major facts in Joe believing in science, the fact that he wants us to have a better economy. But I know we all know Mike was going to bring up the fact of how costly it was going to be for this ordeal to take care of itself. As Kamala said, like it would pay for itself versus us paying more for it to happen. But I'm very interested to see how that will like fold out and how it will map out in it paying for itself. Like that's something that I would definitely be intrigued in.
I know a lot about how like effectively that the country can move towards more renewable energy. You know, it was one of Andrew Yang's policies that I followed pretty intently, which I could don't knock over the hat.
Hey, I was just pointing it out. I was trying to knock it over.
But I think another big thing that I guess one thing that's to be best understood is that the current administration, I would say, is less interested in climate change, not because they don't think it exists outright.
Yes.
I think that the biggest thing that they are staunch about, which I think is probably equally as bad, is that they don't like they first and foremost don't like feeling like they have to shoulder the entire responsibility for it, because Donald Trump has been wanting to. I can't remember if he did or if he's just been saying that he's going to pull out of the Paris Agreement. He did pull out the Paris Agreement.
100%.
And that was mainly
known he was,
and that's mainly over concerns of just that, like the idea that since other countries aren't following the rules set in the Accord, that they shouldn't. So I think that's an equally as bad mindset to have as just global climate change not existing at all. And so I think that's I think that the administration and the government as a whole does follow the science first and foremost, but the idea that they don't want to follow these because they feel like they shouldn't, have to carry everyone along with them, that they're backing out of this, which is wrong on a few levels, because America being
America.
Let's
state that right there.
should set the example for the rest of the world.
Yes.
we are by a pretty significant margin the most powerful country in the world, in the history of humanity, and so
we have such a powerful influence,
and thus we should we should be leading the charge in this respect.
Now
and
sort of kind of on the
now
edge.
people just clown us, bro.
They really do.
Well,
they really do.
That's a societal thing. In terms of things that matter, we've become much more powerful over the past 10 years. I should say over the past 10 years, since 9/11, we've become the most heavily expansive country, not just like power within our own country, but we've expanded over the world more than any other empire has. That's a big thing that is a problem now, is how much we intervene internationally in different countries. And although our president might be looked at by other countries, by other countries' politicians, which the mindset of politicians and the friendships that they have between each other are completely are a completely separate thing compared to our actual important things like our intelligence agencies and our military, which have only been expanding since 9/11.
Yes.
And I know one of the biggest things that have caused an uproar among Democrats over the past 4 years is that within the 8-year Obama administration, our military presence in other countries and our surveillance in other countries skyrocketed like crazy. And they figured that once Obama left the administration, that another person very similar to him, like Hillary Clinton, would take it over. And when that didn't happen, they all flipped their shit. And for the past 4 years, that's what they've been freaking out of, because all those systems that they implanted over 8 years are now in the hands of a different party.
Speaking of, another thing that they talked about was our relation with China and how Trump has completely cut us off from them and cut them off from us, and how much jobs it's cost us potentially in the world. And I think Kamala also did she did a good job.
So the moderator asked him about China. What are you saying?
Yeah, she asked her, and she asked Kamala and Mike about the relationship with China. And Mike, of course he's gonna single out how Donald feels about the simple fact that China is responsible for our economic crisis, COVID, of course. But Kamala then comes in and she intervenes, and she's like, even though they are responsible for that, it's important that we build relations with other countries, because you never know what's going to happen and who we're going to need. And she was like, her and Joe fully understand the format of having connections, building relations, because connections and relations with other people, let's state the facts, they really do get you far in life.
Mm-hmm.
And then she also pointed out the simple fact that Trump's decision to completely cut them off versus sitting down, having an adult conversation.
Yeah.
And
when he says cut them off, what do you exactly mean by that? Does he mean specifically the travel ban from China, or does he mean like prior to this, just in terms of like cutting their government off from communications
or any kind of relation, any reliance on them?
All interactions and anything is cut off. Like,
well, that's an important thing to break down.
Like that, yeah.
Because China is it's the second most powerful country in the world, and maybe one of the worst countries to ever exist. Not the people. There's 1.5 billion people in China, and for the most part, it is a lot of people. And for the most part,
I can't.
And
I can't.
And I think that all people around the world are, despite their differences, are more equal than not. But it is the problem of the Chinese government. The Chinese Communist Party is one of the most is in the modern world is one of the most horrendous governments to ever exist.
It's corrupt. It's corrupt as crap, dude.
It is.
And so when we look back
place.
at Donald Trump's actions over the past few years, when we think about the trade war he's been having with China, increasing the price of goods that are bought in America from China. I remember at Fugu Express, our restaurant, we had to raise our prices. We raised our prices for a little bit, and then we had to switch providers because all of the food products that they were getting from China increased in price, and it was hurting their margins.
Yes.
Which I thought was interesting. But when we think about one of the things that I think Donald Trump has actually done that has been to the benefit of the country, not to the benefit of the country, but is definitely the other side of a cliff that we were beginning to fall off of, but in the other way, he's sort of just dragging us through the dirt with it, is his relationship with China, where, well, when it comes to trade and stuff like that, between, how jobs are going to be moved to the developing world, that's an issue that is, really expansive and has a lot of facets to it. And it's hard to really draw the line to where we can preserve American jobs to the developing world, which is apt to take them away from us. And, we had a lot of, I could say like 6 months ago, I had hoped that it would all work out, because a big thing that we can look at is that, a big thing that I was looking at 6 months ago was that, actually, no, not even 6 months ago, like over 8 months ago, before February, I was looking at, well, we can let our jobs slide to the developing world, because we are hopefully going to install a different sort of set of rules and legislation in our country that'll make sure to catch everyone when they fall and lose their jobs to other countries, through the form of like a universal basic income and jobs shifting away from a sense of jobs shifting away from a sense of strict capital worth and efficiency and work hours to jobs that just sort of a restructuring of the society and the economy in a way that would benefit more people. But right now we're looking at Trump's relationship with China, and we're having this debate on whether or not, like how much power we should secede to China and our relationship with them. And we're doing that without the context of a good answer. Because right now we're having this war where no matter what, eventually that all of our manufacturing jobs in America.
We've lost over 300 manufacturing jobs due to the fact that he cut the
300 billion?
Oh no,
like I mean, like manufacturing jobs have been on the decline for the past 20 years in America. I mean, we know that the entire Rust Belt's been gutted. All the car manufacturers have been gutted.
Detroit is just the ghost town.
Yeah, that is one thing that all these cities have been gutted, and we didn't. I mean, obviously, like that's a different story, but we didn't pick up the pieces of what we broke there
at all.
But in our last few reserves of manufacturing, we are also losing out those to the developing world, not just in China, but in all parts of the world, and that's something that is inevitable and is going to happen. And I think it is just as bad to facilitate that and let it just happen without any sort of protection than it is to try to resist something that's inevitable, which I think is what the administration is doing now. And so it's really hard to talk about what our relationship with China should be when we don't have a solution to either way. We don't have a way to protect ourselves when we throw them when we throw our jobs to the developing world, but we also don't have. There's no way to hold on to them without. I think
her hopes are, we continue to form our alliance with China, but I think her hopes are we eventually find out a solution, and I'm hoping that that's one of the things that her and Joe accomplish when they get in office. We're just gonna throw it out there for the good graces. When they get in office,
they're gonna win. There's nothing that they could either party could do to win or lose this thing.
Yeah. Look, I agree with you. They're gonna win, but let's look at the facts. Okay, I'm hopeful and with you 100%.
Yes,
but let's look at it. Since 2016,
I'm not hopeful.
You're set.
I mean, I know it's gonna happen, but I'm not excited about it.
No type of enthusiasm.
All right, 2016, right? Trump gets elected. Mm-hmm. Everyone in America is like, "Oh my God, he got elected." They say, "Oh, give it 2 months. He'll get impeached. He's out. Give it 2 months." 2 months later, go by. Nothing happened. Say whatever, his weekly scandals. Oh, that'll get him. He's done now. Nothing happened. Nothing happened.
At all. He stayed there. And the other argument
that stuff that happened.
But the other argument they brought up was the fact, that Pence was asked, your president, the president, clearly stated, or in some forms has stated, that he will not give a peaceful transition.
Yeah, what the hell does that mean? What does that mean?
So they...
Well, yeah, that just means that, like we've seen in previous elections, just, battling in court systems, trying to decide, how much to give away, as well as, constantly doubting the votes and how we come in. And, that's been a big facet of the whole, the worry about the efficacy of our voting system right now in that sort of transition of power, if it were to take place. And, when it comes to the transition of power, they can say whatever they want. Neither of them are going to peacefully give away power. If by somehow, it's definitely not going to happen, but if Donald Trump wins the second time, we know that the Democratic Party would not allow that to go through without at least a year of just fighting it back. In an interview on some major news station, I forget, but it was Hillary Clinton who, it was just a few months ago, she said specifically to the interviewer that if Donald Trump were to win, that they would take any and all actions to push back against that, whether, bring in, lawyers and bring in all sorts of things that they could use to sort of push back against that. Because, the way she put it, she seemed very sure of herself, like by doing this, she would be benefiting anybody. But, to most people on the outside, it seemed very desperate. So I don't think anybody would transition power effectively, because this is the most high risk and not high risk, just high energy election we've had in so long.
It is. And it was funny to me during the simple fact that Trump, it's expected. I figured something like that was going to come out of his mouth eventually about his transition of power. So
he'll lose and just be like,
I'm not giving the seat up.
He'll sit and be like, nope.
Two Secret Service agents will come up and pick him out of his chair in the Oval Office and carry him just down the steps of the White House, and they'll just put him out on the street, and then he's just still sitting in the chair. But
it's definitely gonna be interesting. I know Joe will win, but I'm still looking back. I'm just like,
of course, because it's Trump, and Mike sort of kind of inferred
nothing is in his favor, nothing
at all.
Everything he has done in the past few weeks is just like,
hey, condemn white supremacy.
And he did not.
I don't think I will.
The other crazy part of the fact was during the vice presidential debate, during the vice presidential debate, it came up during the question of racial injustice, which, you know, I figured that was going to come up due to Trump, you know, denying white supremacy on a public platform. But of course they lost the African American vote because they brought up Breonna Taylor during the debate. And Kamala she gave out her standpoint and how she feels as though the steps that we should take to make sure that our system is, I don't want to say put on a tighter leash, but that we all have an understanding of the respect of the badge and the respect of people in general. And it was very good that she was able to put those two together and put that out there, because that was something that I think we needed to hear in regards to, you know, policing, you know, systematic racism and stuff like that. And then you have Pence on the other hand, who's just like, you know what, even though what happened to Breonna Taylor was really tragic, I still support our system. Right. You know, I feel as though that there's nothing wrong with our justice system. Like, everything's completely fine.
Right, and she wasn't saying defund the police necessarily.
Oh, no.
She was just asking for reform.
Yes, she was.
Right.
She was asking that we take more steps in policing and within our system to make sure that everybody is on the same accord is really what I feel as though she was trying to get across to us during that time of the debate.
And which in a lot of cases involves getting more money to the police.
Yeah.
In some cases. And either it's sort of a redistribution or it's like just getting money to more unfunded police precincts. So definitely not defund the police. That would be very bad.
No.
Yeah.
Her, and she made it clear that her and Joe, because Pence kept making the argument, you know, that they're going to defund the police, they're going to, you know, mess it all up. But her thing was that she made it clear, like, you know, me and Joe have no intentions of defunding the police. We have no intentions, you know, we're not here to bash them. We're just here to make it better. Everywhere is room for improvement. So we're here to improve this, improve that, and make sure that that we're all on the same page here, that we all are showing respect where it's due.
And that's true between the both of them.
Yes.
Like, they both are, you know, obviously being the good guy.
Yes.
And you were talking about, you know, you guys kept saying Trump's decisions, and we were talking about how he was in debate. He doesn't have decisions. Like, him and Biden's debate, you can almost, and we can end on this if you want, you can think about it how, like, say you're in school, your teacher tells you to read an article, and she picks two kids to come debate about it. You get this opinion, you get this opinion. Say you go against the smartest kid in your class versus a kid who didn't read the article. So the smartest kid is going to lay out his, you know, whatever he's fighting for, his facts, his whatever about the article.
Yes.
If this other kid didn't read the article, he's just going to say the opposite of that. That's how Trump is. He doesn't have his own standings or decisions. He just says, "Oh, Joe says this, that's wrong." I feel like.
I actually think that I was just going to touch on that. That's a really important thing that, you know, in both ways, but definitely the current presidency has the tendency to where either of them will take the stance that makes sense, the stance mostly on subjects that really you can't take to a left or right issue. They'll take like the actual objective stance, and just to be partisan, the other side will take whatever the opposite of that is, which instead of being like left or right, it's like flipped upside down, and it's completely wrong.
It's not left or right, it's just opposite.
And both and both of them are just and then one side looks like an idiot, where it was a big thing, you know, like God, I don't even want to say it, but like you could say like a big you know, push during the beginning of the pandemic was, you should wear a mask, you know, even through all of the different phases that took of how much research we had on the subject, you know, the idea and the consensus was always that you should wear a mask.
Yes.
And most of Joe Biden and, you know, all the other Democrats for the most part were saying like, yeah, you should. And just to spite them, the president was, you know, although coming to it eventually, like, was very hesitant to come to that. He was always just trying to bounce away from them at any point, just because in his mind he saw that since they were taking that stance, it must be something that he cannot agree with.
Yes.
Even though it's not, it's something that everyone should agree on.
It is.
Or even if you don't agree on it, not on a partisan issue, but just for other reasons. And yeah, I don't know. Is there any other important points about the debate?
I mean, besides racial injustice, they just talked about our loss of jobs in the economy and trying to better our economy. And, Joe's promise to bring forth more jobs to the United States and to the people. So that was another major thing that they just talked about. But other than that, it was nothing really major. Before we do close off, in Detroit, Warren, Michigan, there was a 6-year-old boy by the name of Terez Moore. He was murdered execution style due to gang violence in Detroit. And they found his dad, I want to say 11 blocks away, burning in a car. And then,
oh my God.
Yes.
What's the whole... Dude, does anyone know?
No one's sharing any type of information. A Detroit rapper actually went on Instagram. I want to say early. I seen it. I think he went on there yesterday, but he offered $6,000 to whoever would be able to come forth and shed any type of information in regards to the killing of this young boy. And then a Detroit pastor not so long ago doubled the payment amount. Because, that it's a 6-year-old boy. You've robbed him of his manhood. You've robbed him
his entire life.
Of his entire life. Not just that, you've robbed his father to see his child grow. And you've robbed his mother potentially because she's dead as well. They came back and they murdered her. Now the grandmother started a GoFundMe account, on social media, because for her grandson and for her family due to their grievances. But I just wanted to say, you guys do have our condolences to my people that are back home in Detroit that are watching.
And I had no idea about any of this.
Yeah,
but obviously same here. Yeah, that's just crazy.
I had just found out about it last night, and it sort of kind of hit home because I feel as though us as a people, if we expect to better ourselves, if we expect to better our nation, we have to learn to share respect for other people. We have to learn to love each other regardless of our differences, because differences is really what makes America America. We respect each other for our differences, and we embrace our differences because it brings us so much closer together. So
yes, we're the only country in the history of the world really to not be a country of people, but not be a country brought together because we're all the same type of people, but because we all share the same ideas.
Different cultures, our ideas and stuff like that. But I just wanted to put that out there. Let's start, bettering each other. Let's start respecting each other, loving each other. And, we can potentially make America great again. I just had to throw that out there.
That's the truth right there,
That was
Terez.
incredible.
I just had to throw that out there, guys. But
I love that, TJ. Well, Jack, you sent us out.
Yeah, guys, thank you for listening. As always, this has been the Floor 26 podcast. Have a great day.
See y'all later.
Peace out, guys.